When was the last time you sat down and actually thought about where your life is going? Not in a deep philosophical way, just like genuinely ask yourself, what am I actually doing with my time? Because I'm willing to bet most of you haven't. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean it because I was exactly the same way. And nobody sat me down and had this conversation with me. So I'm going to have it with you right now. Because here's what's actually going on. You're living in the most valuable, most opportunity packed years of your entire life, right now, as you watch this, and the overwhelming majority of you are completely sleeping on it. And the crazy part, it's not because you're stupid, it's not because you're lazy, it's because nobody ever actually explained to you what's at stake. So that's what we're doing today. No fluff, no motivational poster nonsense. Just real talk about what these years actually mean and what you can do about it. Now, before you click off thinking this is one of those videos, let me be clear about what I'm not saying. I'm not saying you need to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning. I'm not saying you need to cut out video games forever. I'm not saying you need to build a business at 15 or become some kind of productivity machine that never has fun. That stuff gets pushed a lot online, and honestly, most of it is unrealistic and it burns people out fast. What I am talking about is something way simpler and honestly way more important: direction. That's it, just having some kind of direction. Because right now, the majority of teenagers are living completely on autopilot. And I don't mean that in a mean way, I mean it literally. Their day is basically just a series of reactions. The phone buzzes, they pick it up. A video autoplays, they watch it. A game is sitting there, they play it. And before they know it, the day is gone. And again, I did this. A lot of people do this. But there's a cost to it that most people don't see until way later. Here's something I want you to genuinely think about for a second. Time is passing right now, like right now as you watch this. And it is passing at the exact same rate from every single person on the planet. The difference between people who end up where they want to be and people who end up feeling stuck and confused in their mid 20s usually isn't intelligence. It usually isn't connections or money or luck. It's what they did with the same 24 hours that everyone gets. And here's what makes your teenage years so uniquely powerful. You probably don't have rent. You probably don't have a family depending on you. You don't have a mortgage. You don't have a boss breathing down your neck at a job you need just to survive. The responsibilities that consume most adults' mental energy, you don't have most of them yet. Which means you have something that fully grown adults, people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, would genuinely trade serious money to get back: free time and the energy to use it. That combination, free time plus youth plus energy, is one of the rarest things in human life. Most people only have it once, and it's happening for you right now. And most people trade it away for dopamine, endless scrolling, hours of content that evaporates from your memory the moment it ends, video after video after video. And look, I watch YouTube, I play games. I'm not standing here pretending entertainment is evil. Everybody needs to decompress. That's real. But there is a massive difference between enjoying your free time and disappearing into it. Okay, so let me show you something. And this is the part I actually want you to sit with. 1 hour per day. That's all I'm asking you to think about. Not 5 hours, not some insane grind schedule. Just one focused hour each day on something that actually builds towards something real. A skill, a language, an instrument, a sport, writing, coding, a business idea, fitness, literally anything that compounds over time. 1 hour a day is 365 hours per year. Over 4 years of your teenage life, that's nearly 1500 hours in a single thing. Do you know what 1500 hours of deliberate practice does to a person? It makes you genuinely, measurably good. Not world class necessarily, but good enough to stand out. Good enough to get opportunities that other people don't get. Good enough that it starts opening doors. And here's the thing about that: it's not talent, it's not some gift you were born with. It's just consistency over time, showing up when other people don't feel like it. That's the whole secret, and people way overcomplicate it. Kobe Bryant said he got to the gym before anyone else and left after everyone else, every single day. And over time, that daily difference became an enormous gap between him and everyone else. Now, you don't need to be Kobe, but the principle works the same way at every level. The person who practices an hour a day, every day for 4 years, will outpace the naturally talented person who only shows up when they feel motivated. Because motivation is unreliable, but habits show up when you don't feel like it. So, if this is so obvious, why doesn't everyone just do it? That's the real question, right? And I think about this a lot, because it's not like this information is hidden. You can find this kind of advice everywhere, and yet most people hear it and do absolutely nothing. And I think it comes down to a few things. First, it doesn't feel urgent. When you're a teenager, the future feels far away, like your real life is going to start later. School, then maybe college, then you'll get serious, then you'll really start building. There's always a later, always a when I'm older, always a tomorrow. But here's the brutal truth: later has a way of never arriving. Tomorrow becomes next week becomes next year, and suddenly you're not a teenager anymore, and you're looking back wondering what happened. The future version of you doesn't get to go back and fix the habits the current version of you is building right now. Second, the results take too long to feel real. If you go to the gym today, you don't look different tomorrow. If you practice guitar for an hour, you're not playing concerts next week. The gap between starting something and seeing real results is long enough that most people quit before they even get there. But that's actually the advantage, if you understand it, because most people quit. Which means if you just don't quit, if you just stay consistent longer than everyone else, you end up somewhere almost nobody else reaches. And third, and this is the big one, the distractions are literally designed to be addictive. I'm not trying to be dramatic here. This is just factually what's happening. The apps on your phone, the platforms you use, the content you watch, they are engineered by some of the smartest people on earth specifically to keep your attention as long as possible. Every scroll, every like, every autoplay, it's all built to give your brain little hits of dopamine that keep you coming back. And your brain, especially at your age, is particularly vulnerable to that. So it's not just about willpower. You're fighting something that's genuinely engineered to beat willpower. And the first step to winning that fight is just understanding that that's what's happening. So, what does it actually look like to have a direction? Because I think people hear this advice and then freeze because they don't know what to do with it. And here's the thing: it doesn't need to be complicated. It could be as simple as deciding, I'm going to spend 1 hour every single day on something that builds toward the future I actually want. That's it. That's the whole plan to start. You don't need a 5 year roadmap. You don't need to have your whole life figured out. You just need to pick out one thing and be consistent with it long enough to see what it does for you. And if you don't know what that one thing is yet, that's fine. Try stuff. Genuinely try things and pay attention to what pulls you in. What makes you lose track of time in a good way? What do you think about even when you're not doing it? That's a signal worth following. But here's what I want you to avoid: using I don't know what I want yet as an excuse to do nothing. Because doing nothing is still a choice, and it's one you'll feel later. Let me tell you something I think is one of the most important things in this whole video. The habits you build right now, literally right now during these years, are shaping the person you're going to be. Not the person you want to be, not the person you think you'll become when things are different, the actual person you become. Because here's how it works: your brain is incredibly adaptable when you're young. The way you spend your time right now is training your brain to want certain things and expect certain things. It's building patterns that will feel natural to you for the rest of your life. If you build a habit of discipline, of doing hard things even when you don't feel like it, That becomes a part of who you are. It gets easier over time, not harder. If you build a habit of avoiding discomfort, of reaching for your phone every time you feel bored or anxious, that also becomes a part of who you are. And it gets harder to shake over time, not easier. This isn't about being hard on yourself. Your teenage years are supposed to include mistakes and mess and failure. That's genuinely part of it. You're supposed to get things wrong. That's how you learn what actually works for you. But there's a difference between making mistakes while actually trying and just coasting. The first one teaches you something, the second one just costs you time. Here's something I've noticed about people who end up where they actually want to be in life. It's almost never the most talented person. It's almost never the smartest person in the room. It's usually the person who figured out, earlier than most, that small, consistent actions over a long period of time create massive results. And then they just did that. They weren't superheroes, they didn't have some perfect life or perfect circumstances. A lot of them had it pretty rough actually. But they made a decision at some point, maybe at your age, maybe a little older. They decided that the small choices, the ones nobody sees, the ones that don't get applause, those were the ones that mattered most. The extra hour of practice after everyone else went home, the book they read instead of watching another episode, the time they tried again after failing instead of just giving up. Those moments don't look heroic, but they're everything. And the window where it's easiest to build those patterns, where you have the time and energy and neuroplasticity to make them stick, is right now. Alright, look, let me be straight with you. Most people who watch this video will feel something in this moment. Something like, yeah, he's right, I should change something. And then they're going to close this video, go back to their normal routine, and nothing is going to change. That's just statistically what happens. And I'm not saying that to be harsh, I'm saying it because I want you to be the exception. Because here's the thing that nobody really prepares you for: your teenage years don't come back. There's no replay button, no second chance at this specific window of your life with this specific combination of time and energy and potential. One day, and it comes faster than you think, you're going to look back at right now, at this exact period of your life, and you're going to feel one of two things. You're going to feel like you used it, like you built something, learned something, became someone you're actually proud of, or you're going to feel like it slipped through your fingers. And trust me, that second feeling is one of the worst ones a person can have, because there's nothing you can do about it at that point. And the difference between those two outcomes, it's not some huge dramatic decision. It's not one moment where everything changes. It's the small, quiet choices you make every single day, starting today. So I'm going to ask you one question, and I want you to actually think about it before you scroll to the next thing. What's one thing, just one, you could start doing this week that the future version of you would thank you for? You don't have to change everything, just one thing, because that's how it starts. That's always how it starts. And you've got everything you need to do it. Right now. If this hit home even a little bit, drop a comment and tell me what the one thing is going to be. Seriously, writing it down makes it real. And if you've got a friend who needs to hear this, send it to them. That small action could actually change your friend's life, and it doesn't cost anything. I'll catch you in the next one.